Hey everybody, Helena here.
Kelly here.
From Speaker Insight, we help speakers, authors and coaches to build a business on your terms. And today I'm going to do a little bit of the buzz in our business and just let you all arrive. And then I'll introduce you to this fabulous man called Johnny in a little bit more detail. So the thing about this is we have a little bit of buzz in our business because somebody had a birthday.
Well, that's not so much the buzz of the business, right?
It kind of is, because here's the thing. She took the whole day off.
I did take a whole day off.
And this is the whole thing. Like, building a business on your terms means that you can celebrate things and do things in the way that you actually want to. So the whole purpose behind you setting up your business means that you can do what you want on your birthday,
which was
or
for me,
days.
Was lying in a spa having Rizal treatments from 11 a.m. till 8 p.m.
Rizal is all about mud, just in case you don't know any of. So it's, you know, it's in the know, which is really rather good. But actually, the buzz in our business, the real buzz in our business is we just last week ran the Connect and Create Day. And again, we had 16 amazing kind of people who have all met through the Connection Hub, or who were meeting each other for the first time in person, in a room, for real, and just kind of sitting and getting so much work done. I mean, so many results were created on the day, weren't they?
And we had like some of our regulars, that the people like Prash, who had nailed his pitch.
Yeah,
he was an awesome introduction,
entertaining as. and so the whole point about the Connect and Create Days is that it's not only an opportunity for you to come practice your pitch, actually get to know people, but it's also an opportunity to really get your head down and work on things. And apparently we gave some fairly decent feedback to a whole bunch of people.
Who would know, hey?
Go figure. So if you feel like you missed out and you didn't actually kind of do it, we'll be actually putting up the tickets for that, first of all in the Changemaker Central membership, and then in the Connection Hub as well. So if you're not a member in the Connection Hub,
join below.
That's our group, and that's where all the juicy conversations are happening. And there are a lot of juicy conversations happening at the moment. But put
the 8th of May in your diary, because that's the next Connect and Create Day, and we'll release tickets in the Connection Hub. Yeah.
And
Daisy's buzzing her business. She's about to finish her 10-day colour challenge with 45 participants.
That's
fabulous.
Good.
Created a real buzz in her business.
Well done you. And so for those of you who, whether you're watching this on the hashtag replay, do put hashtag replay, because we like to know when you're doing it, even if it's weeks later. But tell us about the buzz in our business, buzz in your business, because we kind of like, it's a great way for you just to get excited and share what's happening in your business. And moving on to today, you know, this, I think, is going to be a much watched Facebook Live, simply because, you know, sort of, you need to, as a speaker, author, or a coach, and particularly as a speaker, you need to be proactive about promoting yourself and getting the gigs and actually getting out there. So whether that is, you know, and there are probably 3 or 4 ways in which you typically might do that. You might have speaker agents that promote you. You might be using your show reel or speaker brochures, that kind of thing, to actually get yourself out there, maybe your website in that way. But it might also be kind of speaking on stages where you're not getting paid to speak, but you're actually able to do what we'd call promotional speaking.
Or selling from stage.
Or selling from stage, indeed. And, you know, for some of you, it might even be, and we've got a man with some stats around all of this, so I'm heading somewhere with this. You know, and it might even be that you pay to speak on a stage, because that's going to be a good investment for you. So here to kind of unravel all of that and to kind of work out what's the best route for me, or what's the best combination of routes for me, we have invited Johnny Beirne around, you know, sort of in today to just share with you, because he manages Speakersbase and he gets to see hundreds of profiles. So what do you need to put on those profiles to catch the eye of someone? Well, we've got someone who's kind of been doing the homework for you, so we thought we'd pick his brain.
Yeah, especially to market yourself online, which I know is one of those things that a lot of speakers go, well, where do I do, what do I start, where do I start, and how do I stand out, right? All those hundreds of applications. And also, what are speaker bookers looking for in those applications, in those bios, in those profiles? Yeah. So
how do I get chosen?
All this long way around and to introduce Johnny to you and to pick his brains, as Helena said. So I know that you've been in this industry for such a long time, Johnny, in various different hats, and you still have multiple roles even within Speakersbase.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about your journey of what you've done working with professional speakers, and tell the audience that don't know about Speakersbase what it is, what you do.
Sure. So a couple of years ago, I was running a number of business networks, and every month I needed 2 speakers.
Right.
And in a lot of cases, the budget was relatively low. Not in every case, but in some cases. So really, for me, it involved calling around different agencies or different people, you know, in my circle and in my network, you know, can you recommend a speaker?
Yeah.
And every month I needed 2. And I thought, being somewhat of an internet entrepreneur, I set up an online music business years ago, but I always had this idea.
Right? It's like you're just pulling things out of the bag now.
So basically I thought, well, there must be an easier way online just to find speakers. And apart from kind of LinkedIn and a bit of, you know, Googling, I thought, well, there must be, you know, a service or a website as a service. So I set up a website called Speakific, which was a play on the word specific, where the tagline was you could find a specific speaker for a specific event. And, you know, Speakific kind of tongue-tied a few people, but I kind of liked it and I stuck with it. But so the guys in Speakersbase reached out then, and they were really looking to develop their presence in Ireland and the UK, because they're based in Belgium and they have a lot of speakers from mainland Europe. So they were looking to expand, and they thought that the best way to expand quickly was to form a partnership or acquire us. So I had to think about it, and we weren't moving as fast as they were or as fast as I would like. So we joined up in August of last year, and Speakific joined up with Speakersbase and became Speakersbase, if you like. And then I continue to do the podcast, build the Academy of online courses, which we can talk about, and also develop some products and services around Speakersbase. So essentially, really, I like to use the dating analogy almost. It's a dating website between speakers and event organizers. It's kind of like Tinder for talkers almost. But there's no swiping left or right per se, but it's basically just an opportunity to do a search, look at somebody's profile, and hopefully we can help them find love, i.e. that the speaker gets a booking, and the event organizer, it really takes the pain out of the search, if you like, as an event organizer, which was a real pain that I had as an event organizer. And of course, as a speaker, as I was and as I am, it's an opportunity to put a profile up there and just really increase the opportunity of being found. So, you know, we get lots of calls for speakers. We're really upping our game with the podcast and telling the world about Speakersbase. There's some other mergers and acquisitions going on as well. So there's lots happening, and that's what it's really about. It's helping event organizers find speakers.
And I suspect, sorry,
Get in there first.
Well, no, I was just going to say, I suspect that there's a whole bunch of people on here or watching that are now going, that's exciting. How do I do that? So we will put the details in afterwards. So
yeah, and it's free. It's free for speakers to create their portfolio, and we call it a portfolio as opposed to a profile, because you can put up rich media content like your videos and your images and where you've spoken before, and you can invite people to write reviews and all that. So there's lots of new features coming out as well.
And that's one of the things we really enjoy. So what were you going to say?
Well, I was just giving the viewers a bit of an understanding of how many people you've actually managing on the Speakersbase. How many speakers do you have profiles or portfolios up there? And
sure, yeah. So we just crossed 1900.
Great.
But we are doing some other partnerships with some significant similar services in the market where we're coming together, and that should put us into the couple of thousand mark, really.
Fantastic. Well done.
And how does it work? We've got I'll read a couple of these questions in a minute, but so when the match happens on Speakersbase, so they put their portfolio up, and then an event organizer says, yeah, we want you. How does it work on a commission basis, a payment basis? How do you guys be the middleman?
Yeah, there's a number of models. There's the free introduction, there's the commission model. So we're working on that in terms of what is the best fit, because we're not a traditional agency or bureau. So we're looking at other ways to not necessarily use the commission model for a number of reasons, which we can talk about, of course. One of them, as we've mentioned earlier, is the whole idea of pricing, because if a speaker is speaking for free, then there's zero commission for us. So we need to have models that work specifically well for speakers and event organizers. So we're really looking at kind of, being speaker agency 2.0 or almost 3.0, where the traditional model of commission doesn't necessarily work for a lot of people anymore, particularly, as I say, if you're speaking for free.
And just a question that's come in. So somebody that's asking about the fact about if you're not a big speaker, can should you be on speaker agents' websites? And I think a lot of speakers come to me at that point and they go, I'm not big enough, I'm not a celebrity, I haven't got enough, so most agencies are not taking me on. But is Speakerbase a place where you would actually take some of the people that aren't as well known as the big celebrities, but they'd still create a profile, so you would be a good, not alternative, but stepping stone towards having an agent?
Absolutely, yeah. So, I mean, if people aspire to have an agent, that's perfectly fine, of course. We invite all speakers at all levels to join Speakersbase for free and create their portfolio. We then give advice on how to, develop yourself, develop your brand, develop yourself as a speaker. And at the end of the day, we all had to start somewhere as speakers. And it was one of the core things when I set up Speakific, and again with the guys in Speakersbase as well, is that it's up to the event organizer to look at the profile and take into consideration, maybe they haven't have that much experience, but maybe they have a fresh perspective. And once, and there's events out there that are looking for speakers for, a small local business network, or, that they're looking for a speaker and the group was only going to be maybe 10, 20, 30 people. Yeah. So that's an opportunity for the speaker to get some experience, not to be overly intimidated by the size of the audience.
Yeah.
Then the event organizer, with a small event, the budgets might be low. So there could be a perfect match there between where the speaker is at and where the event is at. Yeah. And it's up to themselves then, I guess, back to the matchmaking analogy, it's up to themselves.
I'm right there. That's why I'm sat here smiling. I'm like, there's someone for everyone.
There is, yeah.
Business you're at, you found a match. And Tally's saying that's music to her ears, so that's great.
Which is good.
And it's good to hear, because it's frustrating, also feels a little bit like those other speakers are elitist. So it sounds like our audience are loving the fact that you're offering the service. And we love the fact that you offer the speakers the training, because you have online courses, you have podcasts to help them develop as a speaker to get bigger and better gigs. So you're not just there saying, here's a matchmaking agency.
Exactly.
You're actually offering the dating advice as well.
It's like
we're giving the dating advice as well as the...
You're not quite dressed right for that, love. You need to actually up your game a little bit on that one. But,
I mean, we were definitely asked by, the more seasoned, experienced speaker about being on the same website as people who were starting out. And I guess the explanation I used at the time was that, you can go on to Airbnb and get, a room in London for £30, and you can also get an island in a paradise kind of place for 10,000 a night. So, when one specific speaker actually seen that analogy, as I spoke to him, was like, I get it now.
Yeah.
Because sometimes there was an element of, I'm bigger than your website because of the people you have. Yeah. But we've got people across the entire, like we've 1,900 plus, so we've got people across the entire spectrum, And as I say,
guys, I'm joining.
Great.
this afternoon. How amazing. No, what I really like about that is that, you know, it isn't the one size fits all, but it's a dream for bookers as well. So for those people who are watching who are actually wearing the I need to find somebody, you know, actually to have a place where they can go and look for anyone and everyone that allows them to choose the person that's perfect for their event. You know, I love that as a vision, and I think that's just going to make, you know, it makes my heart sing from the effectiveness and efficiency perspective. So thank you.
Great.
So let's help the people who are thinking about joining or have. So obviously public speaking is a really crowded market, and you know, I know that you must receive loads of applications. So what advice could you give to the people who are signing up or who want to join you to really help them as a speaker stand out?
Sure. I mean, like all businesses, I guess it's really about what do you bring to the table, or in this case, what do you bring to the stage that is unique? And, you know, a lot of people think it's hard to be unique these days because the market has matured and there's lots of events and virtual summits, and everybody's feels like they've almost heard it all before. So I think we can be, if we're authentic in ourselves, that brings a certain element of uniqueness. If we have a unique story, that's great too. Or if we have a unique way of telling, not necessarily somebody else's story, but a unique way of presenting on a specific topic. And usually it can be just all of those things combined that can help us to stand out. I mean, the traditional things of lots of experience and doing lots of big events and everything else, they still work to a certain point. But in my experience, event organizers are really, they're almost looking for, not necessarily the opposite of that, but they're definitely looking for something that they're hoping that the audience hasn't heard before, or heard it in the way that the particular person presents it.
Yeah. It's like whether people do things in a completely different way. We've got speakers that come in and they do magic while they're doing, you know, as the analogy, or people that use music, or, you know, various different things. I think it was like Alex is one of our change makers. She teaches fintech people how to do pitching, but because she's Disney trained and she's like done all the background in theatre and stuff, she brings all that improv and everything in it. So again, lots of people have heard I'm a pitching coach before, but no one's heard it in the way that she does it, and the improv style, and bringing, you know, that theatrical thing through. So
and I think so I'm just going to say this, and then I think you've probably got some comments about this. I think there's something about you providing a place where they can showcase all of that, whether it's through videos and through their bios and everything else. I think that's one of the things that makes us choose you and say, this is really good.
Yeah, so I mean, videos, reviews, a good bio, and what you bring that you feel is quite unique. All those things combined with a good profile shot, not a cutout of a graduation photo or a wedding photograph, and you know, whatever. So, you know, it's worth spending a few euro, a few pounds, a few dollars, whatever your currency is, on getting a good profile shot. Ideally, if it's an action shot, it definitely helps, because it takes the thinking out of it for the event organizer. If it's too much of a kind of a LinkedIn profile picture, you know, it's better if you're in if it's an action shot. So all those things combined, obviously a good professional website with a link from your portfolio if they want to see more, and then, you know, a simple, clear, clean website where they can take an action to request a call back, or whatever it is, whatever call to action you can have for the event organizer to make it easy for them to make that initial contact. You know, all those things, as I say, combined will help you get more gigs.
Nice. So just looking at some of the comments coming in. So you're saying having high quality photos, preferably of you in action as well. Having your personality come through, the style that you do something, whether you're using something as an analogy, or whether that's just your personality, that you might be quite edgy, or you might be quite geeky, or that type of thing. Then your story, because that's your blueprint, your thumbnail, your fingerprint, which is only you has got that story, that experience, that perspective. So would they weave that into their bio? That's how the story comes across. Is that what you're saying? Somebody, if you were looking at applications to stand out as uniqueness, would that come through mainly in their bio?
Mainly, absolutely, in their bio, the show reel, the reviews, really all of it combined. And the more they use you as opposed to I. And it's very interesting. Today's podcast episode, where Christian from Speakers Loft actually has statistics on how your portfolio will improve and you'll get more gigs the more you use you than you use I, and the less you use your own name. And I think he used an example where somebody had their own name or I or their own name. I'll have to double check. 18 times on their portfolio on their website, and that really is so much about them, which is not really what we want to hear, you know. We really want to, I always say to people, even on your About Us, it's not I am such and such. You lead with, if you're an event organizer that's looking for, and then you start talking about yourselves, you know. It's a way to build rapport and just appreciate what they're looking for, as opposed to how great you think you are. It's not that you're not great, but you have to start with them in mind. Yes,
you do.
But I also think we talk about this quite a lot on the retreat, because we train people how to write their bios, and we say, write it in the third person. But also, if someone's going to take an element of your bio and introduce you on stage, they need it written in the third person, so that it's not, because they're going to be reading saying, so and so Johnny is da da da. So that's why, you know, for lots of reasons, we say, you know, write it with them in mind and in the third person. So, okay, and then I'm just looking at here, one of the things that you were also saying, just going back to one of these points, is to have a strong call to action, because there's I have no idea how to pronounce your name.
Just call her Matty.
She's
fine.
Perfect, Matty. She's saying that she's got media kit, speaker show reels, she's contacting companies, but she's frustrated that she's not getting enough return. So it could be the fact that she's not got a strong enough call to action, and once they've read all that information, what are you asking them to do, right? Is it book a call with you? Is it, you know, what's the next step? So then, okay, I might have hit the mark because I might be one of those speakers, but what's the next step to book you to have a conversation? Because that's one of the things you said was the call to action is quite an important part.
Anything that makes it easy is basically what we like, isn't it?
Even that Facebook Messenger chat pop-up.
Okay, so having something like Zendesk on your website.
Well, even Facebook Messenger, because it's free and you can initiate. And one of the services we are introducing is to do an online audit of people's online presence and positioning.
Okay.
And just go through their LinkedIn, their website, their social, and just see where, as an event, from an event organizer's point of view, what's missing from our experience. And it might be just, I can't find their phone number, or you know, there's no clear call to action, and sometimes it has to be a little pop-up almost to get them to engage.
Like that. Perfect. So I hope that's really good. And that Alison saying it's a great tip. So one of the things that we talked about in the Connection Hub, and we put a link to it, and I will do a link to it now. Actually,
it is really exciting. So I highly recommend that all of you pay attention.
So check out in the comments is the Speakerbase report, which you produce on an annual basis, which is a real insightful document for the speaking industry, whatever level or background you come from, to really see what trending at the moment, the ratio of male to females, the people that are, one of the things that we loved, well, it created a bit of a debate in the hub, was whether people pay to speak on stages or whether people are being paid to speak on stages. And I know you've got some stats around that. What did you say that they currently are at the moment, Johnny?
Prepare to be shocked.
Yeah, so in terms of speaking for free, it's in 90% plus. In terms of paying to speak, it's about 10%. And I'm just looking up at the numbers here. Have you ever paid to speak on stage? 11% yes, 89% no. 16% said they would do it again of that 11, which is pretty low. And 84% say they wouldn't do it again. So again, you know, the numbers speak for themselves. It was about over 200 speakers took part. So it is, I think, pretty representative in the industry. So, yeah, I mean,
and
typically.
Do you have a stat on how many of those 200 got paid to speak as well?
Yeah, that's right.
We have speaking for free.
Yeah.
Have you ever spoken for free? 96% said they have spoken for free.
Yeah.
And then 90% of those said they'd do it again.
But what about paid? What about people that are professionally paid for their fees? Did you ask the question how many people? I'm sure it was on the report about how many people actually got paid.
We were more interested in the actual free side. So I presume if 90% spoke or 96 for free at some stage.
Okay.
But I'd have to double check. I don't think we actually have a specific question around paid to speak.
I'll try and grab it.
Yeah.
When on the pre-release, I thought that's what sparked the debate in the
Sure, yeah. I guess I'm
you've got lots of stats, it's fine. So tell us for those people, Johnny, if people that are being paid to speak and then people that are either speaking for free or they're speaking on a stage where that they can sell from stage, and that's where their sort of rate comes from. How do those people differ in their marketing approaches? What would you advise people that they should do if they're thinking of actually those high numbers of people that are actually speaking for free? Yeah. How do they make that worth their while?
Yeah, so I guess there's two main reasons why people would speak for free. One is to build profile, and the second one is to sell from stage. And the challenge, I guess, with selling from stage is that as audience members and participants at a conference, you know, we don't like to be sold to. We like to buy, but we don't necessarily like to be sold to.
Yeah.
And really what I suppose the sweet spot is to really kind of blow the audience's minds with great educational content to the point where you leave them with a fairly significant desire for more, and that could be in terms of an online course or digital product. So yeah, I mean, the speaking for free, it's an ongoing debate, and I won't say it's a gross generalization, say we've all had to do it. But you know, when you consider some of the events and the difference it could make to your profile and your portfolio, speaking for free is not the devil, if you like, that some people perceive it to be. So, you know, sometimes it's a good thing just to say to the event organizer, well, on this occasion, I'm happy to speak for free based on the event, etc. Typically, my fee for this particular type of event would be 500, 5,000, whatever it might be. So just to put it into context with the event organizer, that you're not just a desperate speaker would speak anywhere for free. You know, just to pre-frame it with your fee, in case they invite you back and say, look, well, I did the last one for free and I think you were happy with it. Now let's talk a fee as opposed to free.
Really good.
So I think that's the two reasons to do a profile on one side, and if there is an opportunity to sell from stage. Now, ideally, if the event organizer can mention afterwards, if there's an MC or an event organizer and say, that was Johnny Beirne, I hope you liked it. And by the way, if you liked what Johnny just shared, he's got all of this and more in an online program, and he's gratefully given us a discount code or coupon for members here that expires at midnight or midnight tomorrow, and you can get the entire program for X as opposed to Y. And then it's taking away from the speaker having to do the selling.
Yeah. And I think a lot of us, when we've done training on how to speak on other people's stages, and we say, look, yes, do it for profile building. Say, for example, if you're going to be sharing a stage with like the likes of Les Brown or people that actually, if you can say in your profile, I've shared the stage with these people, it's great positioning for you. The other reason we say is that you might do a free gig because there's they've got equipment there for you to have high quality footage. So you've got more footage for your speaker show reel. So again, when you're saying to the event organizer, you can say, look, I'll do it for free as long as you do the footage, because otherwise it would cost me to bring my guy in and blah, blah, blah. So justify why you're doing it for free. And then also, if you know your conversions really well, like you said, whether it's selling from stage, you selling, or whether it's the fact that you're offering some form of opt-in.
That's right.
Where it's some sort of lead magnet where you do from stage, there's no selling, but then you've got like a really nice automated nurture campaign and follow-up sequence in place.
Yeah.
And you know your conversions from that, then you know that you're going to get £10,000 from that gig, because that's what my average conversions are for that size audience. So it's about working out the strategy for you and how it's worked for you on your terms, right?
Yeah, it's looking at how can this be an opportunity for me, and how do I work that into the business model that I actually have. So the clearer you are on the foundations in your business and how you actually work speaking into that, the easier it is for you to have the right conversation with the bookers that you're actually having, right?
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
So,
and one of the courses that's in the academy at the moment is how to turn your talk into a lead magnet, or indeed the next podcast episode that's coming up with Mike Clayton, who has online courses, is that he took the audio, done a bit of editing and put slides to it afterwards,
right?
And is now selling it as an online program.
You repurpose that content.
We love a bit of repurposing.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. So, I mean, even if it's not being recorded professionally, stick the phone on airplane mode, little lavalier mic of your own, and record, and use Temi or a freelancer to type it up, and turn it into a lead magnet, and away you go.
We also really love Hey Mic as well, because Hey Mic will be a great quality microphone that links to your smartphone. So again, the fact that we
I know those guys, I met them in London.
Of course. So Steve, they're in the group as well. So other things like this is how can you get the most out of those opportunities? And we've had so many success stories where someone's spoken on stage at a free event and then got a paid gig off the back of it.
That's it.
But it's all about framing it up front. This is my fee, this is standard, I'm only doing it for this reason, or as a one-off.
And you know, some of it may actually just come down to the right people who might follow on book you might be in the audience, so that's why you're choosing it. So all of it comes down to that whole evaluation. It isn't about speaking for the sake of speaking, it's about speaking for the sake of building your business so that you can share the message that you're out here to share.
Absolutely. And there's massive learning every time we're on stage.
Completely. Oh yes. So I'm on the flip side. You've said a little bit about kind of what people should be putting on the bio or on their profiles in that way. I'm going to kind of step into the shoes of the event organizer or the corporate that's kind of looking for somebody to speak. What is it that we've talked a little bit about what they look for in terms of the bio itself, but talk to me about what assets somebody should have in place that event bookers actually are just going to delight in and what they're looking for.
When you say assets, for example?
So for example,
about the showroom,
exactly.
Yeah.
So the assets that would allow an event organizer to easily promote them as part of it, that high-res picture and everything else.
Sure, of course, yeah. So if you ideally would have an event organizer's pack for them, you know, be it, as you say, Dropbox link to high res, a PDF that they can download, making it very easy to find the photograph that you want them to use, the website, any assets, you know, that they're going to use, and look at some of the big events that are out there, be it, I don't know, the Web Summit or whatever it might be, and look at the sort of information that is put on there for the speakers and any other events that you've been at, and just make it very, very easy, as you rightly say, for the event organizer to share what you want them to share and not have them go looking for it around the web or Google Images or what have you. Yeah, definitely.
And before that, that's when they decided that they want you in the gig. So when they've got you, they need a short bio, an introductory bio, a long bio, images, all that type of stuff.
Yeah.
But if an event organizer came to Speakersbase and they had a few people that were there, make the difference. Like I know some organizers love to have what people call speakers sheets or speakers brochures, where they need to know all their key topics, they need to know their pricing guidelines, they need to see client testimonials, past history. So what do you think are the things that are really important when people are comparing speakers that they look for and go, oh,
that's the person? Because
I've got evidence of that, I'm going to choose that person over that person.
Yeah, so price is in your portfolio on Speakersbase, or an indicative price,
okay,
500 right up to 5,000 euro plus. There's reviews there. I think reviews is the big one for me, because as an event organizer, you know, and you know, if you take TripAdvisor or Google reviews or Facebook, there's only so much we can say that they're that they're going to believe. It's not that they presume it's lies. It's just, you know. So I think reviews aren't used near enough, and I think the internet, in a lot of cases, it sits on reviews. We go to TripAdvisor before we take a trip. You know, we look at Airbnb and we look at the reviews. You know, we go to Amazon and we sort by 4+ reviews.
Yes, we do.
And I just strongly believe that speakers don't use reviews often enough. And, you know, your starter speaker is going to say, well, I have no reviews. Well, to be honest, you just need to go out and get them. And that, you know, that goes back to the free gig. You know, do it as if you're getting a huge fee for it. Do it because it's brand building, it's list building. Do it, you know, don't go in with the psychology of, I'll go through the motions because I'm not getting paid. You know, you'll just do more harm than good. So I think if there was one thing over and above all what I would be presuming would be a given, good photograph, etc., would be get those reviews and
ask for them at every opportunity as well.
So make the most of those free or selling from stages gigs. By a lot of people go, oh yeah, I went there and I didn't film it and I didn't ask for a review and I didn't get testimonials from the audience and I didn't. So make sure you've sort of got like a checklist. If you're going to put time and effort into speaking on someone else's stages, what do you need to walk away with?
It's not, so I'm going to say the words, it's the poor intentions. What are you wanting to walk away with, you know, sort of like in that way. But actually, you are always in charge of creating the opportunity at any event or in any, you know, sort of situation that you're in. So even in this interview, for example, there is an opportunity available for you, for us in some way, for us on behalf of everyone in the Connection Hub. So you need to do the pre-thinking. A person needs to do the pre-thinking, the consideration behind what else is possible. That is such a great question to ask yourself. What else is possible for this gig? Because actually that allows you to expand out and go, oh, you know what, actually maybe I could share about that lead magnet that I have, or, you know, how do I drop into my story this element so that people connect with me? Or indeed even just a throwaway comment around, you know, I'm updating my website, I can't wait to put new testimonials on there, who wants to give me one? You know, like if it's a jokey and appropriate thing to do, right?
Yeah, great. Perfect. So I think we've got a good understanding for the viewers. I know we've got some comments and stuff coming in about people wanting to connect with you. So I'm just definitely going to put a link in here, Johnny, so that they know. Basically, Speakersbase is the hub, isn't it? If they go to the Speakersbase website, they can go to your social media links, they can access your podcast, they can
blogs,
all of those various things. So that's how people can connect with you. And obviously, you're quite active on Facebook as an individual as well. I know you're in the Connection Hub, so they can connect with you.
Yeah. Absolutely, yeah.
What would you say? What just? So I know that we're. Well,
I know.
What would be your top tip for our viewers who are watching at the moment if they were going to market themselves online? Because I know you spoke about doing social media audits, about how to stand out, about doing free speaking. What would be your top tip that you say quite regularly to speakers to help them market themselves? What would be your go-to top tip?
Yeah, I guess, you know, make sure as we were talking about, that the shop window, if you like, is the best it can be. So all those assets from photograph to reviews to bio to video, show reel, media pack, etc. Just have all of those as the best they can be. Ideally, of course, if you blog regularly, it's good for SEO and Google if they're going to use Google, because sometimes they just want to see who shows up when they do a Google search, because for me at least, it just shows that you're up to speed with I guess modern day best practice in terms of being found on Google. So it's just to make sure that on a daily or weekly basis that you're doing a review of, you know, make your checklist and make sure that they all work. I mean, even on Speakersbase, sometimes we see people, they put up their LinkedIn profile and they leave out the /IN. Now, I guess we could update it to put it in by default, but it doesn't apply to everybody. But the point is that just make sure that all links are working. There's nothing more frustrating when people say, oh, I must check them out on Twitter just to see how many followers they have, because if they've got a lot of followers, it could help get bums on seats for my event. And you click on Twitter and sorry, this profile doesn't exist. So just get the simple things right and improve on from there, for sure.
That. I really do. I mean, you know, and again, both of us are like, effectiveness and efficiency. Yes, we like a bit of that. And the phrase I've been using recently is slow down to speed up. Like, just double check. Don't just shut it, but like actually double check, triple check. Because then if you've done that, it's done until you do your next review, etc. And I would heartily say the same. Once a month, put it in your diary to just double check, do your own. Imagine that I was a booker, you know, imagine you are the booker for you, and just go through your profile. How does it look to someone? Have you updated it recently, and so on? And that's a massive thing.
I would also say to use Google Alerts as well and put in things like, in double quotes, call for speakers, put in event conference London or event conference Dublin, or your local city or country indeed. And even if they've booked, but it's an annual event, at least you know now that these conferences exist as well. And also when you're starting out, it's a popular format, as you know, to be a panelist. And I love the panelist format because people are a lot more comfortable sitting down, being, you know, they've got lots of expertise. They just have never stood up and shared it per se, but they're happy to do the fireside kind of chat on stage. So if you're starting out and you want to get on to the stage, but not necessarily delivering a keynote or a talk, put yourself forward as a panelist. And it might trigger the event organizer to say, do you know what? We don't have any panels on this particular gig, and we have a slot where we could invite 3 or 4 people to do the fireside chat on stage. And now you're on stage, you're kind of breaking that ice, but you don't have all the fears and pressures, albeit some of them perceived, of course, of being the, you know, in the spotlight per se. And I've been on a number of panels and I love the format. It's just, and I think the audience find it more chatty as opposed to being sometimes being talked to. They kind of feel they're involved in the fireside chat. So that would be another tip on your portfolio when you're starting out, to highlight that you're at any level, but definitely when you're starting out, to highlight yourself as a panelist.
Brilliant. I'm just going to put a link in the comments as well, Johnny, because journo requests is a great place for people to sign up to, because lots of the time on journo requests they're looking for panelists as well as people that actually to contribute on PR. So it's another place to get that. It's a beautiful golden nugget, Johnny. Thank you. And I think what you're saying as well about having all this shop windows, your main top tip. A lot of speakers think they need to have a speaker website as part of that shop window. But in my opinion, if they've got a portfolio on Speakersbase, you are actually having that. That is the shop window. Because you've got all your social media links and everything from there. So if people haven't, I mean, I'm a great advisor, a mediator for people having that speaker website, but it costs money. So until you get to the stage where you're going to do that, let's have your website and your profile based on Speakersbase. And then, you know, then you can go from there. Basically, you've got that SEO, you've got that hub of information. Completely. So,
and also just finally to put yourself forward into great conversations like this, where, you know, put yourself forward as a guest on a Facebook Live or a podcast, and just again, no more than your portfolio, share why you can add value to you know, the Facebook Live or a podcast. And even local media, your local radio station, or, you know, wherever you can be heard as opposed to be read about. I mean, it's great to be read about too, but to get the voice and ideally the face out there is great as well, you know.
Daisy says she loves being panelists, and her events have really improved since she has invited panelists on there. So and if you're in the Connection Hub and you type hashtag opportunity, then all of our members will share opportunities for you to be on people's podcasts, to be on their panelists, to be guests and speakers.
Yeah, and we're looking for guests all the time. So
and that's the thing. That's exactly it. So Johnny, we could probably speak to you for ages and ages, and we know that people probably have jobs that they need to go back to, work that they need to get completed. So we're going to wrap it up here. And Johnny's not going anywhere. He's definitely part of our community. So you'll find him either inside the Connection Hub or you know, put your comments in here. Speakersbase is obviously the place to go. good luck with it, whatever you do, and let us know.
Yeah, let us know when you create your profiles or portfolios on Speakersbase, and let us know. Let us have a look at them.
Yeah.
And we're looking forward to you having your retreat in Ireland as well.
Yes. I can go back to my home country.
Sort of. Strange. Anyway, on that note, have a beautiful rest of the day, everybody. Thank you, Johnny, and we'll see
Thank you.
Have a great week, everyone.
Bye.
Thanks very much.
Bye.